Now, kiss.
Hard helmet, black! You're needed on the bridge, sir.
Oh crap, the camera's rolling. Hello everyone, it's me, your average bonehead, Jay. Well, if the first one was good, it only makes sense to make a sequel. My Little Pony Equestria Girls 2, Rainbow Rocks. After the first Equestria Girls movie, these movies became sort of an annual thing, as we'd get one at the ending of each season, this one taking place after the events of Season 4. As one would suspect from a competently made sequel, this movie is bigger and better than the last, with better animation, more characters, better villains, better songs, and my favorite thing of these movies, continuing on Sunset Shimmer's redemption arc. So, without any further ado, let's get right into this one. Our story begins already in the human world as we immediately see our main antagonist, an evil trio known as the Dazzlings. There's Adagio, the leader of the bunch, you know her well, Aria, the Grump, and Sonata, who doesn't have a single evil bone in her body. Ignore all this, she is just a precious taco-loving bean. Turns out the Dazzlings are actually banished Sirens from Equestria, specifically from the early days, yet they're still teenagers in this world, yet never question how aging in this world works. And we see them using their magical crystals that amplifies their singing voice, allowing them to corrupt people, making all their emotions negative, which allows them to absorb all that negative energy and convert it into more magic for them. Basically, they use magic to get magic, evil recycling if you will. They end up seeing the magic blast that defeated Sunset Shimmer from the first one, and realize that it was equestrian magic, so now they have plans to steal said magic and use it for their own nefarious purposes. As we get our intro. We finally cut back to Canterlot High as we see all the students getting ready for a music competition. And it's here where we're once again introduced to our main characters, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, and now the newly reformed Sunset Shimmer, who we see is having a bit of a hard time moving past the past. And this is one thing I really like about Sunset's story in this movie. Her evil past is coming back to haunt her. She isn't gonna get off easy for what she's done. Even though our main characters forgive her, and we as an audience can definitely see how much she's changed and how well she's improving throughout this movie, it's fair to understand though why everyone else still doesn't trust her after what she's done to them. And this is what I love about Sunset's arc. She truly has to prove to everyone that she is a good person now, and that she won't default back to her old ways. And it does, in my eyes, lead to pretty good drama and a nice character study. And I think out of all of My Little Pony's redeemed villains, I think Sunset's arc from villain everybody hates to genuine friend that everybody loves is probably one of the best, especially when you consider how much we got to see of her arc, and how we got to see that middle stage where she was clearly good, but everyone still hated her, showing she still had a lot of work to do to get everyone to like her again. At least, I think that when compared to other redeemed villains in this show. Ahem. We then get my next big compliment to this movie, and that's the fact that it's a dedicated musical.
See how we've made a brand new start, and the future's looking up.
Yeah, the songs in this movie are much better spaced out than the first one, and are all actually sung by the characters.
Better than ever. Whoa, whoa.
But while our main characters, in their band, the Rainbooms, were practicing, they end up activating their pony forms from the last movie, and thus begins the mystery of them trying to figure out how magic works in this world. Sunset Shimmer ends up getting called down to the school foyer as she is to introduce some new students, and as she leaves, Fluttershy brings up her obvious plot device.
I was wondering if we could maybe play the song I wrote. We'll get to it.
Gee, I wonder whose songs are going to ultimately end up saving the day. Turns out the new students that Sunset Shimmer was to introduce were the so obviously evil Dazzlings, so we should prepare for trouble and make it double. Also, don't question why it took them a whole season to find this place. She shows them around while not picking up on the fact that they're clearly evil, and then when she ends up letting them know about the music competition, they all but tell her that their magic comes from their crystals. Sunset does end up getting suspicious of them due to how weird they're acting, and during lunch, she explains her suspicions to her friends. But then the Dazzlings decide to protect the world from devastation and unite all peoples within our nation as we get our next song. And while we're here, I want to talk about how the Dazzlings are much better villains than Sunset Shimmer. Obviously, Sunset is the better character, but in terms of being an actual villain, she was actually kind of pathetic. And that's because, unlike her, the Dazzlings actually get things done. We see their influence cause major problems throughout this movie, rather than just minor inconveniences that are basically rid of the next scene. That, and they actually do have some slight intimidation due to the fact that they have magic, which is something Sunset Shimmer in the first movie did not. And speaking of magic, using their song, the Dazzlings have caused everyone in the cafeteria, except our main protagonist, to be at each other's throats, and they managed to absorb all that negative energy for their magic. And this is the proof that our heroes needed to know that these three are up to no good. So they try to tell Celestia and Luna, but unknown to them, the Dazzlings' magic has also already gotten to them. And because of that, the two have changed what was going to be a simple music competition into a full-on battle of the bands that the Dazzlings are now in. Now left with no other options, Sunset Shimmer comes to the realization that the only way to fight equestrian magic is with equestrian magic. As using a magical book that she had that was never mentioned in the first one, she's able to use it to contact ponies in Equestria. And just as she's writing in the book, we finally cut back to the magical land of Equestria, in the town of Ponyville. We're just on the outskirts is Princess Twilight's new castle, who just so happened to be receiving a delivery of a bunch of books from Princess Celestia, and one of those books also just so happens to be the other side of the magical book that Sunset Shimmer happens to be writing in, as Twilight and her friends get the message and realize that the Dazzlings are Sirens. So using the power of the magic book, Twilight is able to activate the portal before it usually should be, and her and Spike head back to the human world, once again leaving their friends behind for once again dumb reasons that they will break later. And now Twilight is back at Canterlot High. They quickly catch Twilight up to speed of what's been going on and how they pony up while performing together. And of course, because Twilight's here, we get another scene with Pointless the character.
Twilight?
Bumped into always doing.
What are you doing here? You came back for the big competition, right?
Have the writers figured you guys out yet? No? Okay, moving on. We also see that the Dazzlings are here to denounce the evils of truth and love and extend our reach to the stars above, as they go over their evil plan to absorb all the magic due to everyone being at each other's throats for the Battle of the Bands. But Twilight and her friends try to undo their spell, but even with the magic of friendship, nothing happens. In fact, all it does is allow the Dazzlings to make an even bigger rift between all the students of Canterlot High and create more negative energy that they absorb into magic, as well as also alerting them that our heroes are onto them. Soon, our heroes come to the conclusion that the only way they can use their magic and pony up to save the day is if they're playing their music, so therefore they have to be in the Battle of the Bands. And they have Twilight join the band in order to write and cast the counterspell. Later, while they're all hanging out at a sleepover at Pinky's place, we see Applejack and Rainbow Dash gaming together while Rainbow Dash pulls out the oldest Smash Bros technique.
Hey, I was about to beat you.
I doubt it.
Oh, just make up and out already, you two. And later that evening, we get a nice bonding scene between Twilight and Sunset Shimmer, where they show some of their similarities.
Because the last thing you want to do is let everybody down.
Now, if you couldn't tell based on how late into the movie she was introduced, Twilight is not this movie's main character. Sunset Shimmer is. Twilight obviously doesn't want to disappoint people with the whole coming up with a counterspell to save the day, but Sunset Shimmer not wanting to disappoint everyone is a lot more personal for her. You'll notice that she's the only member of the group who isn't actually in the band. And that's because you can tell that she doesn't trust herself enough to not cause problems based on her checkered past. And thus it becomes obvious where this part of her story will lead her. It's why, once again, while the Dazzlings were better villains, Sunset Shimmer is a better character. And as I said before, I really like her character arc from villain to hero. Oh, and we also get a small appearance from Maud.
Boulder was hungry.
I like Maud. The next day, while practicing, they're just awful.
We're not all alike, but our friendship is true.
Yeah, it turns out Twilight isn't really good at writing a musical counterspell in the span of a few hours. And on top of that, tensions between the group is rising. So in order to buy Twilight more time, they decide to play some of their other songs to keep them in the competition. Later at the school, we see everyone continuing to be at each other's throats, with each band desperately wanting to win. And the Dazzlings state that they know this will cause people to start cheating and trying to sabotage each other. And sabotage each other they do, as when it's time for the Rainbooms to perform, some of the other bands try to make them look bad. And thus we are presented with quite possibly the most intentionally cringy performance that this show has given us this side of Spike butchering the Cloudsdale anthem. Of course, by some miracle, they do manage to make it to the next round, and by some miracle, I mean the fact that their opponents were Snips and Snails, who sounded like this.
And there ain't no lie, my favorite food is like pumpkin pie. And did you study snails? I like whales.
Though this performance does cause our heroes to start getting aggravated with each other, but luckily Sunset Shimmer is still there to keep them all together. Oh, and we also get to see Derpy's performance. Lord knows she tried. Twilight then bumps into Pointless the character, and look out! It's that scene everyone used to say why he's a bad character, despite the fact that he, like everyone else in the school, are under a spell.
And then you decide to come back here just so you can beat me in the Battle of the Bands. I want this, Twilight, and you're trying to take it from me.
The Dazzlings end up intimidating Sunset Shimmer, a nice parallel to when she did to Twilight in the last movie, as they bring up the fact that they know about her past, and use that to say why the Rainbooms don't trust Sunset enough to let her into the band. Then the trio goes up on stage to blast off at the speed of light, surrender now, prepare to fight.
You didn't know that you fell. Oh, now you're falling under a spell. Oh,
And this next song also serves as a montage for the rest of the competition.
soon you'll all be singing along.
I think most can agree that Octavia probably would have had a better chance in this competition if she had vinyl with her. I mean, have you heard how these two sound when they play together? Though, as we see with Lyra and Bon Bon, I don't think any corny love song would have done anything against the great and powerful Trixie, who they never truly explain how she somehow found two people who were willing to be in a band with her. Oh, and they also never show us who the Crusaders went up against, on top of Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo not talking in this movie. After the montage, it's time for the semi-finals, as tensions between the Rainbooms are higher than ever, and they still haven't played any of Fluttershy's songs, so what do you think is going to be the song that saves the day? And right now, they have to go up against Trixie, who...
See me dominate, 'cause I'm powerful and great.
Okay, this song actually kind of slaps. Honestly, I think Trixie should win. But due to all the negative energy, Trixie ends up calling out how the Rainbooms needed to call up upon a magical pony princess in order to help them, and Rainbow Dash ends up falling for this obvious gaslighting. She has a habit of doing that. So when they perform their next song, Rainbow Dash gets a little too much into the zone and ends up starting to pony up.
I'm awesome, take caution, watch out for me, I'm awesome as I wanna be.
So Sunset Shimmer is forced to jump out on stage and try and stop her before they end up giving away the plan to the Dazzlings. But all this does is ruin the Rainboom's performance and make Sunset Shimmer look like the bad guy again in front of the whole school. But once again, due to the Dazzlings' manipulations towards Celestia and Luna, Trixie ends up reenacting that scene from Cars, you know the one, as it turns out that the Rainbooms will be the ones progressing to the final round. Of course, none of the other bands like this, and Trixie really doesn't like this, and with a bit more manipulation from the Dazzlings, she and her posse end up getting rid of the Rainbooms via conveniently placed trapdoor on the middle of the stage. As now the Dazzlings have everyone exactly where they want them. As now Trixie will be the one performing in the final since no one else knows where the Rainbooms are. Which, once again, the song is really good. Honestly, she should win.
I got tricks up my sleeve, and I captivate, 'cause I'm powerful and great. Yeah, yeah.
But we don't get to hear the full song as we have to cut to our main character's third act, I Hate You. And because of their arguing, there's now more than enough negative energy for when the Dazzlings go up on stage, they can absorb all of it for their magic. Meowth, that's right, Wobbuffet, my mime. Luckily, Sunset Shimmer ends up figuring out what's going on and how the Dazzlings were absorbing their magic, and finally ends up pouring her heart out to her friends, which causes them to finally all reconcile. And just in time for Spike to free them, as he was going around trying to find someone who wasn't under the Dazzlings' curse. And that person was Vinyl Scratch, because she never takes her headsets off. Which also explains why she wasn't up there performing with her girlfriend, or even performing in the competition in general. Either way, this just continues to prove why Vinyl Scratch is the best of the background characters. And using Vinyl Scratch's portable stage and Fluttershy's song,
What turn of events?
the Rainbooms go up against the Dazzlings in a musical final battle. A true battle of the bands, if you will.
The one and only thing that I am here to bring is music, is the music, is the music in my soul.
So after reenacting that one scene from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the movie, you know the one, it looks like all hope is lost as the Dazzlings reveal their true forms. But then, Sunset Shimmer steps up and joins the Rainbooms.
My friends are here to bring me Not singing just for popularity.
And this act of friendship gives her her own pony form. And together, with the power of music and the magic of friendship, they eviscerate the Dazzlings. Of course they survived, but their crystals are now destroyed, meaning their magic and singing capabilities are gone.
We will be adored.
With their spell now broken and everyone back to normal, they are booed off stage and run off in disgrace.
We're blasting off again!
We get another cute scene between Twilight and Flash Sentry. Look, I gotta say his name at least once in these videos. Until Trixie ruins it. Though, a thought just occurred to me. The Rainbooms were disqualified for being no-shows, and the Dazzlings were booed off stage. By all technicality, that means Trixie won this competition. I knew she had it in her.
Trixie's okay.
And of course, with Twilight and Spike having to go back to Equestria soon, Sunset Shimmer is finally able to join the band.
I also play guitar.
And the next day after the two leave, we get our final song with the Rainbooms, now with Sunset Shimmer, performing together.
Together we stand as the rain begins to fall.
And during the credits, we see Sunset Shimmer finally being accepted by the school and befriending everyone. But before the movie truly ends, we get a post-credits stinger as we see this world's version of Twilight Sparkle.
No doubt about it, Spike. There's definitely something strange going on at that school.
And now with that hook for part 3, the movie ends on that note. I really like Rainbow Rocks. As I obviously stated, it's a definite major improvement from the first Equestria Girls. With, in my eyes, a better story, better paced and overall better songs, a better villain, better animation, and the development of Sunset Shimmer's character from baddie to goodie is something I really like. And there is an argument to be made about this one being the best of the Equestria Girls movies. While it's not my personal favorite, we're getting to that one soon, I definitely can see the basis of that argument. So of course I recommend this movie. It's a step up from the first one in almost every way. Now, I'm your average bonehead Jay, and I wish you all good night.
I got tricks up my sleeve. See me dominate, 'cause I'm powerful and great.
Oh, you're still here. Well, since you stuck around for this long, you might as well like and subscribe, comment if you're feeling really daring. And while you're at it, you might as well follow me on Twitter and Instagram at jayskeletyn. Links down below. And if you just want to see more, you can check out the playlists or look at my last video. Now thanks for watching, and if you need me, I'm going back to bed